Well, let's bring up that map veto and find out where we're going to play. You can see Chaos will be on defense because they have the orange, and Mockit will be on attack because they have the blue. And it will be Villa for the second time in a row today. Look at that. We get some repeats. That means it's very unlikely that we will have Villa the next time Europe plays.
That would be correct. There will be, I mean, I'd have to look at the schedule for the next playdate, but Secret, G2, Mockit, and Chaos are not able to play Villa next week. So, or we say next week, but we are in the midst of super month. I wish we had a reverb or a...
If you could just like on-demand reverb, just like right now.
Like if production could do that, where they could like echo my voice.
I bet they could. I'm sure they
probably have the technology.
But I don't think
for
they
sure
could do
they have
it.
the technology.
Yeah.
They just
don't want to spend too much money.
They just don't want to spend too much money.
That's it.
Family Guy quote.
Yeah.
We were talking about this.
We talked about this a couple days ago.
Literally in the kitchen of the cafeteria.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
While we were making coffee. Well, I was making coffee.
I didn't know the quote. He taught it to me. But yeah, it's going to be Villa again. So that's going to be pretty darn interesting. We will have, I believe it was Chaos on defense, right? So they're going to have the advantage early on. And here's your community vote. Who's going to win it? You think Mockit's going to win it. All right. They were the
2/3.
They were the ones to actually lose yesterday. Chaos won. But there you go. That's what the community thinks. Villa will load right on in and see what the actual result will be.
I mean, to be fair, Mockit did play G2, who, as you noted, have only lost something like one match. I guess 2 matches now, technically, in any official capacity.
Over the last season in this one.
Over quite a long period of time. Also, just wanted to say, by the way, I tried to rhyme, and during the break, I checked my phone, and they said, a team that drones together owns together.
Yeah, I think that's the right one. Who was it? Who said that?
It was Samsonite.
Samsonite. Nice one, Samsonite.
Big ups. Big ups.
High five, buddy.
Big ups. I suppose they said a team that plays together, slays together.
I like that one, but
I think they both work, but I think that the drone one was very specific for what we were looking at.
Yeah, because we were talking about droning, and the stays together and slays together, was that the one?
Plays together and slays together.
Plays together. That one strays away from the droning. And speaking of straying away, ban phase is happening, and we've got Glaz and Maverick gone. Maverick, operator that we talked about possibly being banned in the previous Villa match, because he is very commonly banned on this map. But he wasn't. He was left open, and here, not so much. Mira and Pulse will be the defenders taken out, and both of those make sense as well. Mira, less sense in my opinion. I mean, Mira's definitely a really powerful operator, but on this site, there's often, there's like situations, for example, when you're defending AVG and you could put the Miras facing study. I often find those Miras are more to the detriment of the defense, especially if the enemy plays a Twitch. So having her not here, I don't know if that was a merited ban.
We actually don't see that much Mira at all on Villa typically.
Yeah.
In fact, I believe there was a thread on the Pro League subreddit that basically asked, like, why don't we see teams playing Mira on Villa? And it's just simply, as you noted, you can destroy the floor underneath almost every single commonly held Mira spot. You don't really have any positions where you can, feel safe that you're not going to have any vertical pressure. And obviously that's a big consideration, because even if there is no Twitch drone, as you noted, you've still got the ability for a Buck to get under there, a Jackal to get under there, an Asher or Zofia to get under there, and be able to pop that Mira wide open.
So I got to reiterate, I don't know how I feel about that Mira ban. But at the same time, I'm sure Chaos has some specific reason for getting rid of it. So we'll see if that is to their advantage moving forward. It also does mean that for the first time in a long time, in my memory, we have both Echo and Maestro left unbanned. You don't see that very often. In fact, in the first match of the day, it was Maestro and Echo both being banned, and Penta versus Lascreen. I mean, obviously, it does happen. It's a little bit less common than everything else.
Yeah, I mean, they're two of your best post-plant operators. They're really good in the execute phase as well with the attackers. They're information gatherers. They do a lot of things. Also, I think you could possibly argue that Maestro has the best gun on defense at the moment, I would say, in that LMG with the ACOG on it and an enormous 81 bullets in the magazine. So belt-fed, rather. Speaking of, you can hear the Maestro Alda going off. It's got great caliber-based destruction, a lot of bullets to be able to open things up. And then, if need be, he's got the sidearm of the Bailiff, which is the shotgun revolver that can also be used in a pinch. Chaos had just wandered right in, and he's going to be under fire from 2 different angles. He almost gets pinched. It's going to be Secretly who jumps on top of him as Rips takes out Vitalin. That's both teams losing somebody. The mute off the board. It's going to be both the SMG as well as the C4 off the hands, but Renewals there just tears right through Cryan, and you lose the Thatcher. Mockit finds themselves at a disadvantage.
I feel as though we've seen Mockit, I think, enter into a kind of an odd push downstairs without clearing out the proximity of said push, allowing for a three-way crossfire and some bodies on the floor, the wrong type for Mockit. And they really need to start fighting back, but Chaos is going to put even more on their side as secretly takes down Rips. Corey able to refrag it though, Renewals goes down, and in a 2 versus 3, this is looking a little bit better for Mockit right now. They've also got secretly on very low HP. As you can see, he will die very likely to a single bullet from either of these two attackers, or potentially just a little bit of that asphyxiating bolt.
I was going to say, he's still got the ability on Mockit's side of things to be able to cut off some angles, but the bigger issue that Mockit is going to have, number one, Red Groove is likely going to have, that's a whiff and a half from Vale, as he just cannot land his shots that he needs to. Thank goodness for them that Corey is there, as the Thermite is able to finish off Red Groove, who had pushed out as secretly was the one that had actually been credited for the kill onto Vale, which is going to leave Corey in a must-win situation without the diffuser inside of Bathroom. And he'll look in towards the sights inside of Astronomy. He's likely going to have a goo mine or several in his way. He's not going to quite get there. The doorway will be a little bit too far as it's Crips holding a beautiful angle and just spraying right down with the MP7 to give the very first round to Chaos.
So yeah, I think a miscalculation there on Mockit's side. That entry downstairs, really poorly gauged. They put a little bit too much muscle behind it too. If it had just been Chaos alone, less damage done, they could have probably recovered. But in the end, not enough muscle behind the push into Master. And I think that's what ended up costing Mockit that round. They started the recovery, but it just wasn't enough. And that I believe it was Vale, who was missing quite substantially onto Red Groove. That's not what you want to be seeing. I understand Capitão's para is a bit of a noodle gun. It bounces all over the place, but at the same time, it does a lot more damage than it used to, and I just can't. I can't excuse it. It's definitely something. It's definitely a situation where we should have seen a little bit more dominance on Mockit's side in that engagement. Now, we're going to see Chaos move over to AVG after winning a trophy, and this is going to be another one of those sites that Chaos should very easily take. Again, this being a defender-sided map.
You see, the big thing is going to be through the rest of the next 5 rounds. Could Chaos keep up this pace, right? Are they going to be able to continue to win it? Because we saw a good lesson in what happens when you don't win the rounds that you're supposed to in matches 1 and match 2 of the day. With both of the teams starting out, Penta starting on defense on Clubhouse, you figure, okay, they're going to have to walk away with 3 of possibly, or 4 of those rounds. Well, they won 1, and then you get look at G2 doing the exact same thing on Villa, and they walked away with 3. So Chaos' lucky number is going to be 4 to 5. If they can secure that many defensive victories, they'll be in good position heading into their attack.
You know, Parker, I feel like as soon as we start talking about, hey, this is a defender-sided map, people start losing on defense. I don't know if you've noticed that. Every time we bring it up, it's like, oh, and now they're losing the rounds they should be winning. Weird how that works. Now Mockit going to be clearing their way into Master and Astronomy. It's got a good amount of control with relative ease, and that's all thanks to the excellent drone work that you're seeing there on Mockit's side. It's still slow going here on this clear. Got control of that north side, and once they start their push over to the site, you have to be wary about these barrels being pointed in their direction. You see Crips playing in what looks to be Study, and if he's not contested from outside, he could just stay there and pivot to either site. Good mark there. KS, though, unable to capitalize. See, just a little half damage done to the Maestro.
Losing Renewals early would be a big blow, not just from a firepower perspective, but also because if people need reminding, those Evil Eye cams get locked into place. Speaking of, it does appear that with Rips taking control of 90, he's also been able to pick off an ADS and using one of those explosives from his lifeline, also take out, oh no, also take out the Evil Eye. But look at this, a mistake from Rips will cost Corey 2 rounds of the XKros as Crips was intended to be stunned from the Zofia. of Mockit, but because of the miss of that first concussive mine, it allows that wall inside a vault to be held firm. And that's a huge thorn in the side for Mockit.
I mean, there was the ADS. We don't know how much of it was burnt, but at the same time, definitely miscalculation there on the Zofia and Hibana. Speaking of miscalculating, Corey will lose the fight as he attempts to challenge Renewals inside of that gun vault. Not going to be able to win it, and Renewals gets a second for himself. A clean shot onto Vale. Chaos able to get the refrag, but not onto Renewals, who is on an absolute tear right now. And if left alone, I think he's going to get more, and yes, he will. His third in the round, and all three for his team before secretly has managed to get rips. It's all up to Chaos now from Study, and he's doing his best, but Renewals will get his fourth, and Chaos take it off the backs of this Maestro. Excellent gunplay and positioning here for Renewals.
Smile.
Wow, that incredibly clean gunfight there for the Maestro.
Renewals just absolutely carrying the round for his team in terms of gunplay, not even necessarily in utility. And Maestro is an operator who I think does a pretty good job at both, Michael. I don't know if you agree with me there.
I would agree with you, Parker.
And of course, Villa is also a site where Maestro has an endless amount of possibilities. Those Evil Eye cams can be put inside of sight, fortified around the rest of your team, and very difficult for the attackers to be able to use their utility to destroy said Evil Eyes, or you can use them as scouting tools, as you saw from one of Renewals' Evil Eyes inside of the corner of 90 underneath the default cam that is there that usually gets picked off. So it's been a perfect start to this matchup for Chaos. Renewals and secretly shouldering the load for their team, all but one kill in their favor, which is Crips who has the other, which was actually the round-winning kill on Trophy and Statuary to start things off. Because both Trophy and Statuary as well as AVG are locked, we're going to go downstairs to Kitchen. Once again, foregoing the library/living room, which we haven't seen at all today. We've witnessed, up to this point, 14 rounds of Villa, and it has been completely absent.
10 seconds to go.
I mean, you were talking about living room?
5 seconds left before
Yeah, living room, library.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any living room. Nobody wants to go living room.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Not with that
Attackers are
attitude, they
moving out to locate
It's
the
a
bomb
terrible
diffuser.
bomb site. I think we've seen it a couple times, but it is a really atrocious bomb site. We talked about it before. I mean, it's so easy to isolate the southern end and just plant. There's not a whole lot the defense can do about it. I mean, maybe it'll get worked out by some team in the future. Like I said, we've seen some teams attempt to defend it, but not successfully that I can recall. I mean, we've had a couple wins there, but anyway, I'm gonna move on. Mockit clearing out the top floor, and they've cleared out pretty much most of the southern end. So yeah, this is what we usually see here on Villa. You got to clear out to make sure there's no roamers. Then you'll stick one person on that flank watch, or maybe just a drone on the flank watch and start your push. But either way, they have not fully cleared out the top floor. As you can see, Renewals, who got the 4K last round, doing his darndest to hold up this attack.
Being watched intently by the eyes of what appears to be a deer in front of him, or a steer rather, as he's going to play around the body of the stuffed animal, so to speak. Great taxidermy in front of him as Renewals will now push up and aims for the knees of the Ash, hoping that the recoil will carry upwards. But while Chaos losing about half of his HP, he'll still ultimately survive that encounter, which will prompt Renewals to now hit the deck and head back into sight. It's great for Renewals to be able to waste that time. And more so than anything, Mockit's inability to drone and push together onto a certain part of the map where you could have loaded up utility, well, that's a problem. And now look at this. 20 seconds ago, Renewals moved, and Mockit are now just starting to try and clear out that part of Statuary, which has allowed Vitalin to creep all the way up and is on the hottest flank of 2019, waiting to see what he can accomplish. He's got some destruction in front of him, and he's very patient for the time being as nobody's there. He doesn't see the Zofia, though.
Oh, no!
Oh, no! Rips turns around, and Vitalin not checking his corners. That'll be a gift for Mockit.
That one went from the hottest flank of 2019 to the almost non-existent flank of 2019. He could have done so much damage. It just didn't happen for him. You got to clear your corners, like you said, Parker. Now the rest of Chaos is still in a good position to hold this out. Got the Nitro Cell in the hands of Red Groove, and he can easily deny that diffuse plant when it comes in to the laundry doorway if given the opportunity. Full top floor control for Mockit, and they have the wall into A open, so they have access, but you could see secretly playing close proximity, and he's got that shotgun SMG combo that's going to do him some massive favors. Able to get the headshot onto Corey in the initial engagement. 15 seconds left. Initial should have happened way earlier. Cripps able to get KS as well. The rush here from Mockit working against him, and a 3 for Cripps, and Renewals gets the final kill. Just an absolute slaughter there. I thought secretly was going to have to do more work, but not the case. Chaos managed to lock it out. That's 3 in a row for them.
Mockit, a team that looked so hot finishing last season. Everybody doubted them every single step of the way. It felt like every matchup, even to some extent myself included, thinking at some point Mockit is going to drop one game. They might not make the LAN finals in Rio, but they proved everybody wrong. This has been a rough start so far through match 1 and now as well on to match 2. I'm no doubt that Chaos is also benefiting from the fact that they are playing on a very defender-sided map and winning the defenses. But one thing Chaos has done is they've now completed a full rotation. Typically, even on the most defender-sided maps, you're usually going to lose at least one of your first 3 sites, typically.
Yeah, it will happen in that initial 3 site, and sometimes it happens in the second set. But it is weird to see every time 2 teams that are so close, even on a map that's defender-sided, 2 teams that are so close, like Mockit and Chaos, and not a single one of the initial set of sites goes the way of the attacking team. It's just weird. Especially, I mean, Kitchen of all sites, too, is one of those that you usually consider to be the low-hanging fruit for the attacking team on a map like Villa. You know, you can understand why AVG and Trophy go the way of the defense, but Kitchen, yeah, kind of comes across as that, hey, you should probably win here if you want to win this half or have any chance of coming back in the second half. Not the case, though, for Mockit. They're definitely struggling here. Every time they got to get into a fight with Chaos, it seems like they're losing it, and that's not good. Another thing is, yeah, really inefficient droning. You touched on it when it was happening, actually, in the previous round. Maestro fell back, and 20 seconds later, Mockit decided to start droning out the position he was in. So they were chasing his ghost. That's not what you want to see, especially on Villa, where roam clearing is so important.
I don't try to obviously speak poorly of teams, but that was exceedingly poor coordination there.
Yeah.
You wasted 20 to 30 seconds. You wasted utility to do it. You were very lucky that you walked away with a kill, which was solely because Vitalin did not actually check the corner the way that he needed to do.
And how do you solve that? First things first, you say, this is our droner. Once that guy runs out of drones, here's our secondary droner and our tertiary droner. And then, you know, you move from on and on. It's not really complicated.
It's a very different story to what we saw out of the G2 Secret matchup, where both teams had 2 people droning in a lot of times. They're fraggers, except for when Leon Gids has decided to do whatever he may do. KS swapping off of the fragging entry role onto more of a utility-based operator, going to the hard breacher of Thermite, will manage to get the vault wall as Chaos opens things up by getting a kill onto Corey, who is now on the Ash. So, excellent job from KS, who rather doesn't actually get the vault wall. My apologies. I was actually mislooking as to the location. But 4 kills coming out as KS, the last man standing on his team. And there goes Rips, and Chaos just beating back the clock right now, leaving Mockit to just tread water for the next minute or so. Only a meter off of that diffuser, as KS will now need to start his approach onto the site. And surely with Chaos having 3 bodies, they're going to have every single angle in here covered. Chaos only has 2 ways. His approach will be called out after hitting a goo mine on the path to getting in towards the site.
Chaos has done it before. He might be able to do it again. He's got enough time to make this happen, and he's being very cautious. If he gets 1 or 2 picks early on into this fight, he could bring it back for his team. It's very unlikely. You could see he's caught between a rock and a hard place, and the pre-fire not going to land. Secret shots, or secretly shot, Will and Chaos take another. That's 4 in a row.
Going from Team Secret to Secretly?
I talked about it.
It's a tongue twister.
I talked about it in the break before we started the match. I actually pointed it out. I was like, oh no, I'm casting Secretly now. What's going to happen? But all that is just banter. I mean, we've got Chaos right now in commanding lead, and it seems like this half is, well, the half is already won for Chaos. But more than that, it just feels like there's not a whole lot that Mockit are giving us to root for. You know, we're not seeing shades of a comeback here from Mockit, at least not on the attacking half. And that leads me to believe that we're going to end this in a 6-0 in Chaos's favor, and then we're going to go to the second half, and Mockit might start racking up some kills in some rounds because, yeah, they're on defense now.
Attackers need to locate and defuse.
But we've talked about this before. When you're on match point going into the second half, it is so very hard to win every single round and get that draw.
It's mentally defeating, I would say, is probably the best way of putting it, is that you have to essentially try to come in here for a draw, which we haven't seen actually yet.
Have we not seen it?
I don't think we haven't seen, because it's NA didn't have one, and we've only seen one play day of North America so far. Latin America hasn't seen a draw, and EU didn't see a draw last night.
Yeah, so no draws yet.
So for those that are wondering, no, we did not get rid of draws. They are still very possible.
It's just they haven't happened because, as we talked about last time we were casting,
those 2 rounds being added have made a world of difference.
It's just so I think it's clearer.
Games have been better.
Yeah.
Exciting. There have been decisive finishes to matches. Say what you will about draws. Draws are quite fair. If after 12 rounds, one team is not better than the other, fine. Give them both points and move on.
Yeah.
But I think that a decisive conclusion is exciting in a lot of circumstances. And this change, big ups to the people at either ESL or Ubisoft who made that call, because it has proven to be a very beneficial one for the teams and for the viewers.
Absolutely agreed there. Now, in this round, we see Mockit trying to clear out those roamers once more. There's nobody roaming on the north side top floor, so it was a pretty easy clear. Only a minute expended in that endeavor. The drones, though, are being dispatched quite easily. The drone economy management for Mockit has been pretty poor. Yeah, exactly. It was a beautiful shot there from Rips onto Renewals. Maestro gone early, and Renewals also one of the top fraggers, I believe, for the defense. So having him gone, there you go, yeah, the top fragger. Oh, he's got 2 people bumping shoulders with. Now, the top fragger being gone and the Maestro at that, it's going to really help Mockit when they go for that actual site push.
Yeah, that's a tough loss for Chaos in terms of utility. Obviously, it's a tough loss as well for just killing potential with that gun, too. And you've had the only ACOG that was available on Chaos's side of things, too. So the only operator that could be able to hold down such a long-range engagement, of which there are quite a few sight lines that can be very hard to manage. But no ACOG necessary there for either Red Groove or Secretly, as Chaos doubles up to take out Corey, and then Vale falls 2 from Crips. So Mockit will lose its hardest utility-based operator in the Capitao, and then also, or hardiest utility-based operator in the Capitao, and then one of the 2 hard breachers as well in Corey's Hibana. That is a swing back that strongly favors Chaos. But, hello?
Look at that.
Chaos trying to get the vault wall as Red Groove manages to drop the Bandit Battery at the perfect moment. Cryan's EMP will not take out the Bandit Battery, so Chaos, a bit flummoxed, will now need to just simply head towards the bomb site. It'll be Vitalin waiting patiently, just by the leather sofa, anticipating a push in, but there's another set of eyes that will be over there as well. You've got Crips watching it, and because there's a numbers advantage from Chaos, they're primed and ready to greet Mockit.
Look at how much time it just took Mockit to get that battery, but at the same time, there's still a bandit on the wall. It doesn't matter. That is a serious lack of coordination on Mockit's side.
Rips must be out of concussive blasts, because that could have stopped them in their tracks. But Vitalin picking up 1 kill, he's positioned to grab a second. That's Diffuser down, and the newest member of Chaos doing great work with Crips diving in as well. And all is falling apart the seams for Mockit as Chaos, the literal definition of their name through 5 rounds, overwhelming the German squad. And they're 1 round away from being perfect through their first defensive half.
I would not be surprised if they finish this defensive half perfectly. The 6-0, in the slightest. I mean, it's looked like absolute domination here for Chaos. There is not really a question in my mind that they're going to be able to walk away with this. See Clash being brought out there. Maybe going to 6-pick away from the Clash. You don't actually see her played very often. Yeah, there you go. Yep. Go ahead and change that. There you go, Red Groove. Yep. All right, so good to see that happen. Clash, definitely an operator that after her nerfs, not great. Not great at all, especially at this level of play. So every time you see her, it's really weird. And, you know, considering how well Chaos has been playing, I don't think they need to experiment. So, yeah, at least they made Mockit think about, hey, they might have a shield. Now, moving on from that, Chaos have come full circle twice. They're going to Kitchen for the second time, and this is the third site that they will defend two times total in this first half, because they haven't lost anything. So if they're able to make this happen, then very impressive first half to this match.
5 seconds to go.
And also, if nothing else, a guaranteed draw, though again, we haven't seen a draw yet this season, so that would be surprising to happen.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
So far today, everybody's brackets, I feel, have been busted.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, in the first matchup, Penta and Lestream, you know, I think a lot of people thought Penta was going to win.
I thought it was going to be a close match.
People thought G2 was going to win. And I think a lot of people, well, by the community vote, people thought that Mockit was going to win as well. So, very similar to runs that teams go on for March Madness, which is a reference that I guess I probably should have saved for North America. Is
that a sports thing?
It is a sports thing. It's a basketball thing. Corey takes out Vitalin, and Vitalin takes out Corey. They literally hit each other at the exact same time. Both the Ashe and the Jaeger are down. And I think somewhere a ranked star dies because you lost an Ashe and a Jaeger at the same time.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Every time you do that, a ranked star gains its wings.
Yes, and also that ranked star happened to be high silver. Now, 5-0, going on 6-0 here for Chaos.
Ouch.
But,
ouch.
Crips is going to be downed all the way by Astronomy and finished off by KS. This looks like we could have the first Mockit round in the bag. It's not over just yet. Got more than half the round here for Mockit to execute onto the bomb site. They've got full vertical control, which is going to aid them quite a lot. Secretly doing his best to maybe refrag. The shotgun can do a lot of work through these bars, but that's a high ceiling there. And it's going to be hard to pull it off. Switches to the SMG-11, that's the right call in my opinion. Chaos working his way towards Laundry. Secretly is going to get that kill that he was fishing for so very long. And it was through the drop down. Hunting for more though, and he is going to eat a lot of damage as he attempts to fall back. And he gets away with his life, and gas canister still in hand. And a kill as well to boot, so that's a pretty good run there for Secretly playing on the Razor's Edge.
Attackers have recovered.
Still quite low on HP though, so the Smoke will have to try and survive the next minute of action with tons of soft destruction in the hands of Mockit. Being able to use both the Zofia and Buck gadgets to try and crack open the tough nut that is Chaos's defense. And there you go, Renewals picking off rips will give his team the advantage. A frag grenade tossed out should be able to clear the Evil Eye. Everybody from Chaos is just going to stand and wait as a beautiful shot from Red Groove will leave Cryin all on his lonesome on top of Red Stairs.
All of the gas canisters are still in play here, and it's not even going to matter because Secretly's probably going to get this shotgun kill. Easy blast, but he misses it. Renewal's able to get the refrag, and there you go. The first half totally in favor of Chaos. A perfect half at that. 6-0, and now match point.
A flawless first half. You don't often see those.
Have we seen any of them yet? I don't know. Like I haven't casted any. This is the first time.
I mean, I don't. So I've only from the matches that we've casted. No, there hasn't been a perfect half. I can't recall yesterday because I don't remember. The only one that I would wonder about would be the Mockit and Lestream losses, but I don't think they were perfect rounds. I don't have that info at my fingertips.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, I technically do if I was to go on my phone and go to Liquipedia.
Not going to do that right now.
But I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that right now either, Parker.
But Chaos finds themselves on match point, and it's been a flawless round, and we'll see if Mockit... I mean, Mockit are going to need to repeat that.
Yeah, I don't see that as likely. So we've talked about this earlier. Any team, sure, okay, let's say it's defensive-sided on any map. Let's say it's 75% win rate on a map for defense, which would be exponentially defender-sided. Let's say that's the case. And you rack up that perfect half on defense. You could make the argument that the other team is going to be able to be capable of the very same feat.
Camera feed up and running.
But they now have the disadvantage of being up against the wall. They're the ones who have the low morale, who have the complication in their head of like, oh wow, we just lost 6 rounds in a row. And you are riding the high of winning 6 rounds in a row. I mean, it's definitely a situation where Chaos should, yeah, they should win one of the next 6 rounds. The odds of Mockit making a full comeback here and winning 6 in a row, slim to none in my mind. But that being said,
we will need to see 2 perfect halves in order to get to a draw, right?
Yeah. And
the likelihood of that happening.
It's possible, however, improbable.
Possible, but improbable.
Yeah.
Is a good way of putting it, Michael. Well, we've got 2 minutes-ish left to see if Chaos are going to be able to pull off the first 7-0 in Pro League. Keep in mind that the very first 7-0 under new Pro League rule sets were coming on behalf of Space Station Gaming, who actually did 2 7-0s, being in the very first 14-0 over a Mini Golf Guta in the DreamHack Winter.
Oh, yeah.
I guess it was the group stages. It was played off stream. So they were the first ones to, I guess, to claim that honor. But we haven't seen one in Pro League, and I think that's a distinction that needs to be made.
Secretly setting up his nade. He could actually get the smoke, but no, it's going to be a little too far there to the west. And nice attempt, though. That is a location that people commonly sit in. You can see the impact tricking going on there. I don't think it was successful. I think Vito managed to get the wall open. So a nice try there from KS, but no cigar.
Yeah, this is a problem right now. And this is one of the reasons why Mira is often picked on this site when we do tend to see her, is because you need to be able to pick off an exothermic charge or the X-Kairos onto the study wall. Once the study walls are opened, it basically means that most of the defenders need to evacuate the site. And right now, at least for Mockit, there's only 1 panel that's opened up. Corey will peek a little bit too early, and Renewals will be there, continuing on the great game that he's having with secretly taking out Vale. And Mockit are, at the moment, barreling towards an 0-7 against Chaos as they look towards 90, which is where 2 members of Mockit are. Brian, who has been a little quiet so far, the newest member, obviously coming in to replace Baka Brian. He's going to have to do some work here on Red Stairs.
Looks like the beginning of the end for Mockit, and then got good positioning right now, all things considered, but as you see, secretly actually going to get down, so that's the first for Mockit, but they aren't able to secure it going into the dying seconds of this round.
Ribs' head will peek out for just a second, but Red Groove not fast enough on the reflexes to be able to take it off. Secretly will be out of action for the remainder of the 30 seconds, as Chaos knows that they can taste this match point. They've got bodies to throw at the problem, and on Red Stairs, there's Cryan. He'll peek right back up. KS is there to take out Crips, and Renewals will pick up his 3rd kill. KS on a last man stand, but Red Groove will shut it down, and ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the Swedes will take Pro League's very first 7-0, not just this season, but under the new rule set. Congratulations to them. That's a big win, as Chaos will pick up their 2nd win in 48 hours.
Good job to Chaos managing to get that. Very impressive, seriously. Not only is that their 2nd win, but I think they are also the only team to have 2 wins so far from this team, or from this region, rather.
That is correct, because the other winners were G2, Empire, and ENCE. Empire and ENCE are coming up in our next matchup, and G2 lost. So Chaos, the first team out of the gate. Empire is going to look to add a win to their column in our next match. Before we get there, we're going to have an interview with somebody from Chaos. We'll be able to talk to them and see exactly what went right in these 2 past days. And it's funny, because Chaos, just by dropping Snukin and adding on to Vitalin to their roster, they look like a much better team. They're playing quite well. They did decently well, but I still think underperformed expectations at DreamHack Winter, and they've always been the team that has seemed to have quite a lot of potential, but never been able to meet it. Could this be the season where they finally do?
It certainly seems that way, though it's still early days. I mean, we've seen early wins stretches in the last season, for example, with Noble. They got 3-4 in a row at the beginning of the season, and then losses and draws. So it's been... It can carry forward, but we have to wait and see. We need to reserve judgment on that one.
As you cautioned for Latin America, it's way too early to tell.
We
need to get till about the 4th or 5th match where I think you can actually start to see teams settle in as they adjust to new rosters, they start coming up with new strats, they start to counter-strat, etc. Let's bring up our interview, though, with Chaos for our 3rd of the day. Still no draws, and the only perfect team so far in EU Pro League. We'll welcome Chaos to the screen ask them a couple questions. Congratulations secretly. First it was Team Secret, and now secretly here representing Chaos. How do you feel after that match?
Well, I think we had fun at least. I'm not sure if the other team did. So yeah, pretty happy.
You've had a great 48 hours. You're the first team to 2 victories in Europe right now. You absolutely clobbered Mockit in that matchup, and we were speculating how much of that was just Villa being defender-sided, and then you won every single one, and you won your first attack. Preparation is the same question I've asked every team today. Preparation, obviously, you want it to be really thorough, but it's been 24 hours since your last match. Mockit are a team that are trying to adjust to a new member and can play quite aggressive and unpredictable. How did you change up your strat from your matchup yesterday to come into your match today and capitalize on everything that Mockit did?
We just kept the momentum going. As you said, we didn't have any time to prepare specific stuff, so we just made sure we kept the momentum going, made sure we picked a good map for us, and that was basically it. We went in blind, pretty much, when it came to counter strat. So we just played our game, and it worked out.
That's pretty impressive. So I'd imagine then if you're going in, that's going to rely quite heavily on good IGLing and calling through the middle of a round 2 to make those changes in order to address what you saw from Mockit. And there were a couple rounds, actually, where it looked like Mockit were scrambling, and I just want your read on it. In particular, the one that comes to mind was you had 3 members of Mockit all lined up trying to push into Vault, and Crips just sat there and in the most casual way I've ever seen, bandit tricks like he's been doing it every day since he was born. How do you read what's going on with a team like that appears to be sort of stalling out and not get over aggressive? Because we've seen teams blow leads by just not being patient, but your team was excellently patient today. So does that fall on the IGL, or does that just fall on the team as a whole?
I think a part of it is my responsibility as the IGL, but in general, we're just very good at realizing when we've wasted enough time, when we can fall back, when we can just play on site, play turtle, and at the same time, we know when we can go aggressive as well. And this was one of the days where they were pushing really slow, and we were just wasting a little bit of time, falling back, wasting a little bit of time, falling back, and then yeah, eventually it becomes pretty obvious what they need to do because of how little time there is left. So we just got to stop that one thing.
Beautiful. And of course, Vitalin fitting into his role quite well, looked very comfortable. I mean, obviously yesterday he did well too. So you have a roster that you like, I'm sure. And with that said, I have no further questions. But what would you like to say to your fans, to the sponsors, to your team, and to the viewers, etc. at the end of this interview?
Thanks for the support, everyone. There was actually a lot of people, even before the game yesterday, who supported us, which is just incredible, especially with how rough our seasons have been. And, well, now we already have almost the same amount of wins as the entirety of last season. So we're on the rise. We're gonna keep doing this.
It was certainly an exciting matchup, as an addition to the 2 exciting matchups we had before that. Congratulations on your victory, both yesterday and today, and all the best in your next match.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.